Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run again, spitting with a little bit of soul, no times.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I am Daniel Gonzalez. As always, folks, the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
And now that we've cleared ourselves from liability, we want to thank you guys again for listening to the show, sharing it, getting our numbers up. We really appreciate it. We're seeing the downloads go up every week.
Yeah, man, it still trips me out.
I know.
It still trips me out considering we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
And just did this shit on a whim.
Yeah.
It trips me out that this is episode 91.
Yeah.
Episode 91. So we're 9 episodes away from 100, which is
I know.
nuts.
We got to figure out what we're going to do, man. We have to have some kind of party.
I was telling Mark, I got the wheels in motion to try to get the fire chief, the LAFD fire chief, for our 100th episode. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Work.
And we still have the option to do it in Venice too.
Yeah.
Bruno.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Get
true.
our mural and all that.
That is true.
I know.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool,
That
man.
would
We
be
can do
cool.
a whole thing.
So we'll see, man. We'll have
guys.
something cool
Keys
coming.
to the city. Where are you at? Who's the councilman now?
We'll have something cool coming for the 100th episode, hopefully. But yeah, man, we again, one of these weeks where we tried to get a guest, we had a couple people lined up, and just schedules, man, everything kind of fell through.
We had to change recording dates because you got recalled. The thing that we were talking about, it being an issue, it hits home. You guys.
It is what it is, man.
Hits
Sometimes that happens, especially now with like staffing being the way it is and stuff like that. Yeah, it's funny. I talked briefly about that save that we had on July 4th.
One of our last clips.
The drowning, and we had we get follow up on incidents like that.
Right.
They're kind of marked as and there's a place that you can actually mark on the ECR if you request a follow up on the patient, stuff like that.
Right.
Usually that's reserved for like people that might have some contagious something or COVID or something like that. You want to see if they tested positive, if you've been exposed or whatever. But also in like significant incidents like this. And there was a few things on that incident that are kind of like new, like the Lucas program is kind of a pilot program. It's pretty damn new.
It hasn't been used.
And it's something that we're still like getting used to using and calling for on cardiac arrest. Cause you have to understand too, man, like, cardiac arrest, like something new, like the Lucas calling for the Lucas, right? To do something that normally over, I've been a medic for the department for 19 years. You have a fireman doing CPR, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to you as a medic to, hey, dude, you go a little deeper or, go a little faster or whatever. You kind of forget, like when you get on scene or something like that and your brain starts rolling as to like, first of all, what's the story? What happened? What could I be dealing with on this cardiac arrest? What am I dealing with? What's this heart doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a pulse? Does he have an open airway? If we start bagging with the BVM, are we getting anything in? Is he choking on something? I got to get out so we can oxygenate or whatever. Like these are all things that are all happening right off the bat. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you get there all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of have to know some of these things before you can actually start working and helping somebody. Right. So an incident like this is unique. There's a few unique things that happen.
So many moving parts. Yeah.
First of all, a backyard drowning, right? Those are followed a little bit more closely than other drownings, right? Because we get drownings in the ocean all the time.
Yeah.
Being a beach station. The lifeguards will pick them out, throw them in the truck, drive them up to us at the bike path. We take over, usually throw a CPAP on them, try to force some air in those alveoli and get the fluid out and transport them, right? Or they drowned and they're, dead.
Right.
But the drowning in a backyard pool is tracked by the Department of Health.
Right.
So like I had to make a special phone call and report it directly to Department of Health that it was a backyard pool drowning. So that's something significant. The fact that not only that we use the Lucas, which I think it might be my first time actually using the Lucas on a cardiac arrest. Yeah, because I had one other refractory VFib maybe 6 months ago or so, and we didn't call for the Lucas, and that was one of the critiques afterwards was you guys should have considered calling for the Lucas,
But again, that's the thing you have to like get used to even remembering, because a cardiac arrest is kind of like an automatic thing.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
And for those that don't know, because I did get this question on the socials a little bit, the Lucas is a device that does chest compressions for
Right.
you. There's a backing to it. You strap it over the chest of the patient in a specific area. You set it to the rate, and it does the chest compressions. Every single compression, good and quality and deep, right? And that's kind of the problem with chest compressions. You know, when you have a human doing it or you have an EMT doing them or something, you get distracted doing them. You get tired. Your hands start turning for whatever reason. There are times when you're not getting consistent.
Yeah, it's varying degrees.
Constant quality compressions, you
Right.
know? So this is, you know, it being a pilot program and only the EMS captains have them. Not only do you have to remember to call for it, but the
Right.
EMS captain has to be somewhere
where you can show up on time where it makes a
needs
difference.
to be somewhere close enough where he shows up with enough time for it to be even effective and stuff like that. And sometimes in the instance where I didn't call for it, it was 20 minutes into the cardiac arrest before the question even came up.
Yeah.
Should we get it Lucas? And it was like, man, we're already almost done with this cardiac arrest here.
Right.
Let's just continue on. We're pushing meds and trying to, you know, measure out push dose epi and all this other shit. Right.
Yeah. And anyone who's worked one could see how that could happen easily.
Yeah.
Man, you could be 20 minutes in and like, oh yeah, that thing that we're supposed to remember to do that they just told us about.
It's and there's always changes like that.
Exactly.
As
And
paramedics.
you kind of always have to stay on top of that stuff.
Every year we go to an EMS update, right, where the nurse educators for the department will go through all of the updates to the, you know, American Heart Association, ACLS guidelines and CPR guidelines and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, and they go in depth with it, you guys. There's like a video. They'll show like scenarios, and they give you quizzes, and it's like this year was long. Bro. It was hours.
When you used to go and do it like in person, it'd be like a all day thing.
Yeah. But now it's like there's all like a lot more modules. It just seems like it's longer now.
Yes.
It's like so in depth now, man. Yeah.
So, you know, there's especially so like when you're a new medic and you learn the stuff how it is currently, you know what I mean, and then you come out in the field and you're working. Once you have some time on the job, you've seen like changes galore, right? Through what we're, so I mean, the difference in what we do for patients for certain things compared to what we used to do 10, 15 years ago is crazy.
Yeah.
Medications change all the time. Dosages change all the time. The thoughts on how you treat things and stuff like that changes, you know? We used to give Benadryl, like, you know, allergic reaction was like Benadryl, fucking give them more Benadryl, you know, and now they've determined that epinephrine, you know, IM epinephrine is more effective, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So everything's changing all the time. So sometimes you get to an incident and it's a cardiac arrest like we had, right? And there's all those things like I mentioned before that are going on that you're going through your head. Like in this instance, you know, you got this guy next to the pool, you know, purple from the nipples up. Anytime you have a drowning, you got to consider neck trauma, right? Somebody dove in, cracked their head on the bottom, broke their neck or something like that, right? Party full of people freaking out and screaming that are half drunk, you know, on a holiday, kids, you know, you're 16, 18 inches from the edge of the pool, trying not to get anyone to fall in. You know, you're again trying to determine if he's choking. All these things are going on.
A bunch of shit.
Okay.
So you get a review.
On top of that,
You get the review.
on top of that, you're going through the cardiac arrest. It's like, what's the new stuff? What's the old stuff? Right, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so, get some emails from, you know, we do our thing, man. Get the save. Wind up transporting, do some push dose epi en route, and get the guy to the hospital. And you're always concerned in a extended cardiac arrest like that, about the person's brain. You know, were we perfusing well enough? Were we oxygenating well enough? You know, so that there's no permanent damage up there. I mean, we're working on the guy for 40 minutes without a heartbeat.
Exactly.
You know? And so we get this review back, and you know, a lot of praise. Everyone did a great job, and the gal just kind of little follow up because people were asking about a follow up. It sounds like the guy went to the ICU. He was brought out of a medicated coma a couple days later, showed some signs of responding, was put back under, and then a few days later was pulled back out and was awake, talking, following commands. So
amazing.
It is pretty amazing, man.
It is.
To have all these different things happen, to put him in that situation, and then to have all these things go right, to even have a good outcome, and then to be so close to calling it on the guy and
The
it
last
and,
second,
and it pulling out in the last second. Yeah, it's fucking
literally,
crazy, dude.
yeah, literally.
So
you post the tape, the recording of the call.
So
Yeah.
a small portion of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like the end where we talk about,
Right.
how, oh, hold on, we got a rhythm back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in our last EMS update, right? It's our nurse educators that go over all this stuff with us. We go over that if you have an extended cardiac arrest and you get pulse back,
Yeah.
right? You get return of spontaneous circulation, ROSC,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That you continue 2 minutes of chest compressions,
Mhm.
right? That in an extended cardiac arrest, just because you get the heart beating back, the oxygenation sometimes is not good enough. The heart's not strong enough after that long to be
Right.
pumping well enough on its own to oxygenate everything. So you give 2 minutes of chest compressions and then continue on with the rest of your post arrest treatment modalities. So that that's what we've been doing that on the cardiac arrest that we get when we get them back. Continue 2 minutes of compressions and then transport to the hospital. So in this tape, and mind you, this is the first time we've had the Lucas on, and they're talking about bringing him to. There was talk of taking him for ECMO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the tape, when we shut off the Lucas, and I go, oh, hold on a second, we have a really weak pulse at a rate of 52. We just got it back. My thought is, let's continue the compressions for 2 minutes, make sure that we have a good, strong pulse.
Yeah, per the update.
But we have the Lucas on the guy, right?
Mhm.
So I asked the base, do you want us to continue the Lucas? And they say no, and we move on. Okay, anyway, so I posted that clip on TikTok.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, dude, people are losing their minds. What the
The
fuck?
Lucas is not nationwide, is what we found out.
What the fuck? You got pulses back? You want to do compressions? What kind of idiot? I don't want to go into cardiac arrest in that county and just all this shit, right? So I'm like, okay. So then I go, hey man, American Heart Association recommends that you do 2 minutes of compressions post ROSC in an extended cardiac arrest. Well, I teach ACLS. Show me where. And you're like, you people are so mad.
Oh,
calm
dude,
down a little bit, man. We saved the guy's life.
Mm-hmm.
But some angry people, right? Well, show me where. So I start, I go to look it up and I can't find it anywhere. So I'm like, son of a bitch. Are you kidding me, man? So I call our EMS captain. I go, hey, am I crazy or are we not supposed to do 2 minutes of compressions, post ROSC on an extended cardiac arrest? And he comes back to me and goes, yes, we are. Just double check with the nurse educator. We are. I'm going to find the literature on it and send it out. A couple days pass. And
Nothing
I'm just
goes
getting
out.
Bombarded by these fucking anonymous user 428376 who's like, what kind of ALS book are you reading? And at this point, I'm like, I'm reading the ACLS book at your mom's house. I'm like snapping back at people and shit, right? And so finally he gets back to me, or no, I messaged him back. I'm like, hey man, did you ever find the literature on that? And he's like, no, I haven't been able to find it. And I'm like, fuck, do I have to eat crow on this?
Your mom's giving 2 minutes of compressions after ROSC, bro.
So I text the nurse educator, his is, Gonzo from 63s and blah, blah, blah. I know, am I crazy or were we not taught this? And she goes, no, you're right. The American Heart Association recommends blah, 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 blah. I haven't been able to find the actual literature on it, but I have it. I'm going to send it to you when I find it. And I'm like, okay, well, send it to me because I have like 5 bets I need to win. And so she's like, no, I'll find it. I'll send it out. If you're asking about it, then people are wondering about it. So let me send it out. So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting.
Meanwhile,
Anathea, I'm waiting on you. It's all on you, girl, to send me this information.
It's a cover up.
But it was just funny to me, man. Like one guy's like, oh, you only did 50. It's like, no, man, we didn't just do 3 rounds of epi. There's a lot into this. Like, like I can't in the comments explain to you,
dude,
pulling up on scene, having to figure all the things that I talked about before out, you know what I mean? Actually getting down on your belly in, puddles of water to look in this guy's throat, having to call for a VVAC to suction all the water that he had in there so I can actually see the cords. All that stuff takes time, and it's crazy. Like people don't understand or realize the energy that you exert. Like I'm not physically doing hard work, but the energy that you exert, like the mental and physical energy that you exert doing it, Mark asked if the Lucas breaks ribs. Yes.
Good.
Any good quality. That's kind of almost how you know that you're doing quality chest compressions. You feel a couple ribs crack, and it never gets any easier to like feel when you're doing chest
It's
compressions.
weird, man.
You're always like, oh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's weird.
And you know, you'll get some cardiac arrest, dude. Old people where it just feels like a chest, like a
smashing through them.
breastplate floating,
No,
dude.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's a trip how that heals back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That cartilage that's there, it all sits back and winds up healing back. But yeah, that Lucas gives good quality compressions, man, and
Yeah.
it doesn't get tired. It doesn't let up.
Yeah, dude. But on TikTok, especially, but social media in general, man, if you're posting videos, reels, people zero in on the thing that they noticed, and then that's their thing, and they don't notice anything else about it, dude. Because I'm posting jokes, and they're legit jokes. Everything says comedian; these are jokes, and they're just as serious as they are in the PRC comments, dude.
Dude, it's
about dissecting what I said in the joke, dude.
It's
like, that's
so
not
funny.
real. Yeah.
And people are like, and I can see. It's like I can see you on your couch. Oh, I got you, you know, and like it's like, and I'm doing whatever I'm doing in life, you know, or at the, you know, All-Star game or whatever, and it's like, damn, this dude is like, really
People
mad at me,
spin off
like
into
really
their
mad at
own-
me.
People spin off also into their own like conversations, like existential conversations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nothing to do with you.
I wish I wouldn't get
In the
notifications
comments.
on those. Yeah,
in the comments. Yeah.
So keep that in mind too, people. If you ever send me messages or you say something in the comments or something, and I don't respond to you, because I try to respond to as much, like engage with people as much as I can. But if I don't, I get a lot of like notifications about comments and messages and stuff like that from people.
Yeah.
So if you ever send a message and I don't respond, I mean, it's probably because I haven't seen it, you know. But yeah, so that happened, man. It's just fucking. Half made me laugh and half made me like, you know.
But again, it ties into what we were saying, like, you know, thanking people for listening to the show. But that's part of it now, man. We have more listeners, more viewers,
and don't get me
checking
wrong,
out our stuff, and they jump in with their ideas too. Yeah,
don't get me
their
wrong.
thoughts.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Bernie gets all mad because I sit there on my phone and like answer people back and go back and forth with people. But it's all fun and games to me. Like I'm completely at peace with my skills as a medic and my knowledge as a firefighter medic, right? So if you guys have criticisms or whatever, feel free, man. I'm happy to go back and forth. All that stuff helps us with you know, just getting the word out there. People see it more when it's more engaging like that.
As long as you share, you know.
We had an incident.
Yeah, we got to work together somewhat on a thing. It happens rarely. We have a few other cousins too who are on the job in LA, work for LA County. So I had an incident with one of our cousins.
Yeah.
I guess no.
Oh, that was the guy with the arm and the auger.
Yeah. So it happens here and there, but this was interesting because it was like the day after or 2 days after you were asking me about MCIs. Yeah.
So just tell them, like, I know we've covered this already, but as far as MCIs go, tell everybody what your job is, basically.
Okay, so I work at the Medical Alert Center for LA County. It's a 24/7 communications hub for EMS, you know, basically shit that the public can't call us, but paramedics can call us, ERs can call us, doctors, helicopters, you know, police, lifeguards, stuff like that. So it's not really like a 911 thing. People always say you're dispatching or shit like that. You know, it's like, no, we're helping with different things that like, it's stuff that you don't, who else are you going to call? This, you know what I mean? So one of the main thing that we do for fire departments is Mass Casualty Incidents, MCIs. So MCI, by definition for our policy in the county, is any event that EMS responds to that has 5 or more victims in the same place.
Yeah.
All right. So it can really be anything, and we've had them for all kinds of things. The main thing or majority is going to be traffic.
Yeah.
Traffic collisions. That's where you have like more victims in one place, but we've had all different kinds of them.
But even these days,
what we do with them is the firefighters that show up on scene, paramedics that show up on scene, one of them will set up communications with us, tell us what they have. We'll hit up all the hospitals and let them know what's going on and find out who can take what.
Yeah.
We'll let them know who can take what, and then you kind of decide where people are going to go. Let us know where they're going. Everything gets tracked. Everybody goes to the right place. The idea being that you won't have 20 victims from the same, you know, bus crash show up to one ER. And
the closest ER.
Yeah, exactly, which is what could have happened before if there's no communication. So this way, everyone gets spread out. Everybody gets the care that they're supposed to get, you know, timely care, because that's a great thing too about being in LA County. We have 88 hospitals.
Yeah.
There's, ERs, trauma centers, all over the place. So it's different than other geographic areas. But we also keep track of everything.
Yeah.
So the victims or, patients, end up tracked where they're going, where they arrived, how they turned out. We can make a report with the timeline, for review.
Yeah.
Later.
You guys establish a report after every MCI incident?
Everything.
Yeah.
And we can also do them for like mass gathering events, like stuff that can become an MCI.
Yeah.
They'll do it like preemptively and set us up for like Pride Parade, music festivals,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Or it's more than like 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people in one place. They'll probably have us there in the command post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up the amount of hospitals, because that makes a difference in like the types of medications that we carry and stuff like that, because our transport times are small.
Yeah, it's so small.
So I'll get that kind of shit talked too. What? You guys don't carry lidocaine, or what? You guys don't? It's like, nah, dude, we don't. We're 10 minutes from the hospital here or whatever. You guys don't hang drips of whatever,
dopamine,
nope, we don't do that, dude. It's a trip about LA County for those that are listening from across the country. Is like LA paramedicine, like kind of started in LA County, and then we're just like 10 years behind the rest of the country as far as like what our
weird.
scope of practices and shit.
Yeah,
there's
more like cowboy medicine in other counties, because they're just like they're
like
literally more rural.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Different counties do like RSI, like rapid sequence intubations and shit like that. And we can't do any of that stuff. And there's more things you can do for pediatrics and stuff. Yeah.
IOs. Yeah.
So, it's a trip. So when you guys are talking shit to me about things like that too, keep that in mind too. All right.
But then that's the other thing on the flip side of that too, is we have 10 million people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're bigger than other countries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when people are talking EMS systems and stuff, it's like you'll be at conferences, like when we had Mike Noonan here.
Yeah.
It's like, we got 3 hospitals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In our whole county, it's like, we have like 88, dude.
So back to MCIs.
Yeah.
So we had this. So just in general, there's a lot more mass shootings and different mass casualty things going on, in the world in general, in the country in general. So, every month our captain puts up like a list of like, basically like the calendar for the month of like what the rookies drill is, if we have a drill day scheduled, or every day there's something on there. And so, they'll always give each guy like a little drill to give, or something like that.
Right.
So he gave the rescue MCI communications, which is why I brought it up to you the other day. It's just funny how that works out, man. You put shit out in the universe and then it happens. So.
And we do this at MAC like every day.
Okay,
For
and
different
don't.
Departments, different firefighters.
Right.
No, but I mean like to help people brush up.
Oh, okay.
Someone will call and say, we're going to do a drill. Can we talk to you? We have an intern. Can we talk to you? And we'll just walk you through it,
Yeah.
Because it isn't a thing that you do all the time, but when it happens, it's crazy. So you need to know, like anything else. The whole reason you drill is so you have a solid foundation for when the shit hits the fan.
Right. And if all the things that easily get screwed up and shit hits the fan and goes everywhere, it's if you screw up an MCI at the beginning.
Yes.
If you don't,
that's part of why we're there too, because having someone on the line with you when everything's flying around you kind of keeps you grounded to what your job is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll tell you, hey, got this one? Okay, we're at 6. Just keep you focused on the task,
And this one was an interesting one because it was so any MCI is not a routine call, right?
No.
They all have their difficulties and shit, and depending on how spread out it is, how many patients there are, what actually happened, and shit like that, it might be just a complete cluster F, right?
And also, by definition, it's going to have a big response.
Yes.
So anything that has a big response and a lot of guys in staging and just different areas set up, it can be a mess sometimes. Yeah.
So, like even just a shooting, right? Like if you get like a fucking drive-by at a party or barbecue or whatever, and you get six shooting patients, right? If the first rescue comes in and goes, and they come running up with a shot kid, and I'm taking him, and they take off, right? And then everyone starts showing up, and nobody started communication. Then the next rescue comes in and takes one, and they make contact. They're going to the same traumas. That's when everything starts getting screwed up. People don't know where people are going, all that stuff,
instead
right?
of one incident, this now becomes 7 or 8 different incidents.
Right,
and
right.
It's all over
and
the
the
place.
first rescue might still be on the phone with the trauma center when the second rescue makes contact. Now you got a third rescue that has a third patient that needs to make contact. So you're flooding the base station with phone calls for the same incident, different patients and stuff. But on scene too, it becomes a more hectic scene when you don't set up a staging area, when you don't have a rescue staging area, when you know what I mean?
Yes.
So this incident that happened was, it could have gone real bad organizationally. And they wound up kind of reining it in. I could see it kind of going bad from sitting and staging, and they kind of reined it in. So what it was a bus, like a shuttle bus at LAX. Yeah. Okay. And there's this little section at LAX, like right when you first pull in, that there's a bunch of like swirly pathways that can take you upstairs or bring you downstairs from upstairs, or put you back onto Century Boulevard or pop you out on Sepulveda. It's a bunch of little like twirly crossing roadways in the airport. Yeah. Okay.
To get into the terminal area.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was a shuttle full of people that were either going to a flight or coming from a flight on a shuttle bus, an LAX shuttle bus, that in one of the roundabout turns caught a concrete pillar in the front, like driver's side corner. Okay. Rescue 51 got it by themselves to begin with, right, as a traffic. And then they got on the radio, said what it was, and ordered some more units, and then it grew from there. We got added in like the second wave of rescues, and it wound up being, maybe you know a little bit better, but there was probably 7 rescues where we were, 7 or 8 rescues. That was including, because where it was in LAX, Manhattan Beach fire covers like the south border of LAX.
That's the weird thing with it. No, it's El Segundo. But El
Segundo, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
El Segundo.
But the thing is, but the South Bay departments are all mutual on everything that has more than one person, basically. Right. They all basically have one rescue.
And then
so they all show up.
And then somehow the county was there too. LA County Fire was there too. 58s was there, Squad 58, and their battalion chief. So what wound up happening was, just listening to the radio communications, you had El Segundo, and El Segundo sent up a chief with them. Then you had LA County 58s that comes into that area sometimes there, but they're more like down Slauson and like La Cienega or whatever. They showed up with the battalion chief. Okay. Where the incident was, there was no like place where you could set up staging right there.
Yeah, because it's a windy
one road, like windy ass thing in the middle of like the main traffic of LAX, right? So when we got attached, when we were coming in, they're trying to figure out where staging was going to be. They had units coming from all directions. Nobody could see the incident. And they're trying to direct companies of where to set up their rigs for staging, right? To wait till you're called in to transport a patient.
See, we didn't know exactly where it was, just that it was in LAX. And we didn't see exactly where it was till it was on the news. Because our usually MCIs, we see them on the news while we're working on them. But a lot of times, because we had, I think the week before, we had another bus crash, but it was on Imperial.
Yeah.
So the south end of LAX, that's what borders El Segundo. Yeah. And so that's where you usually get MCIs that have El Segundo and like 95.
A lot of traffics and auto peds down there.
We'll have bus crashes here and there. They'll open up an MCI on it, right? So when this one happened, it was El Segundo called first and made Medcom.
Oh, really?
Established Medcom. Yeah.
See, that's weird because it was in LAX.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's when I saw where it was, like, that didn't make any sense. And then it was Manhattan Beach that kind of like took over for them or something. Like there was a little confusion on which one. Like they had Manhattan Beach call back.
Oh, so Manhattan Beach was there.
They were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not tripping.
Yeah, you're not tripping. Yeah.
So we had basically our battalion chief, Battalion 4, who's at FIES, which is right there, and they're in LAX station. You had a battalion chief from, I believe it was a Manhattan Beach battalion chief, and then you had a battalion.
There were 4 different.
And then you had a battalion chief from LA County. So they wound up staging the rescues on Sepulveda at 96 or whatever it was, which is a street like right by the PD LAX PD station right there. And then they put the LA County chief in charge of that rescue staging. Then they had a separate staging area where they had the fire units at, and they had I believe the Manhattan Beach chief running that staging. So they had 2 separate staging areas.
Just off Sepulveda,
right?
Or on Sepulveda.
I don't even know where the fire was.
'Cause
I never
here's
saw a fire engine. Okay, from where we were. I mean,
okay.
until we pulled up. So then even like, so then the chief comes on, or it might have been the SA on the radio, comes on and gives pretty clear, like, this was dope that they did this. All my rescues, your staging area is on Sepulveda, facing south at 96th Street. And battalion chief such and such is in charge of staging. Separate staging area, all fire companies, your staging areas, and gives a complete set, like exact, location of where the staging is and who's in charge. So then it was like, rescues, when you come in, make the right turn on 96, make the left turn going opposing traffic on here, and do not go up, come straight, and you will curve around to the incident. Okay.
Yeah, because it's this very specific spot where this is, but it's also like the worst place for the airport.
The worst.
Yeah. Because all travel shut down. Like all cars coming in, if you're staging on Sepulveda, where how LAX is laid out, where you go into the terminals, Sepulveda Boulevard is like the main like north-south that takes you through the airport. So if you guys are staging there, it's blocked.
No, we're staging off to the side.
Yeah.
It was open. But it was just in the spot it's in, it's just like inaccessible, man. Like if I had a call by myself in there, it'd be a bitch to figure out which direction to come from, so I would be in a position where I'm not stuck in there. You know what I mean? It's just in a funky spot. So then he gives all these directions. I'm like, okay, I don't even know. I have no clue where this incident
follow
is.
Somebody, yeah.
No clue where the incident is or what it's going to look like or really what's going on, because all we have is
you can't see it. Yeah.
We can't see it, and we know that it says there's like potentially 30 patients. And I've had bus accidents before where people were jacked up. I had a bus hit by a train that dealt with Mac before. And so you don't really know. I didn't know what to expect, man, when we pulled on scene. Then they call us up, rescue, 63, rescue 62, and somebody else come up, pick up a patient. So then we followed the directions, and dude gave exact directions on how to get there. It was great, because when we made the turn, I'm like, oh, okay, that's where we're going. That's what he meant. Yeah. Okay, boom. And we pull up and we pull on the incident, and it didn't look like much, man. It really looked like a fender bender. Mm-hmm. And all I can imagine is that, all the people on board, you're on an LAX bus, you get bumped and kind of notched over. Hey, my neck hurts, my shoulder hurts, or whatever. Or maybe it does hurt. Who knows? Yeah. And they had all the, triage areas, the tarps out and everything. I don't know who was doing it. Fives probably. They're right there. And, they had all the people out there. They had them all triaged and stuff like that. And we pulled up, and EMS captain, my friend, buddy of mine, comes up and he goes, you know what? We're actually not going to use you guys. We don't have any more ALS patients. So we're going to let you go, and we'll call up a BLS unit to transport. Mm-hmm. And it wound up being not much of anything.
Yeah. I think there were about 10 that went. Then the initial was like 30.
Yeah. And they were all BLS? Do you recall?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe an ALS unit took a couple, but nobody had anything serious.
We left and we were all kind of commenting like, man, that seemed like it got blown up for what it actually was.
But that happens, man.
And that happens. Yeah. And it's better to call for the world and not need them, and, tell them they can go back home than need them and not have them.
You look at your initial estimate, what I mean? Yeah. That's based on the amount of heads you see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of those people, like, they're going to decide once they actually see you and get checked out, they've calmed down a little bit. They don't want to go to the hospital. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So that number always gets whittled down. But on the reverse end, sometimes it just drags on. Dude, remember when you had the MCI that was it you? That had the spice outbreak at Nines?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that went on for like an hour. Yeah, yeah. Because you guys just kept finding more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a trippy one, because it was like, that was an altered MCI basically. Yeah, so there was no accident, there was no gas leak, just everybody was smoking the bad batch of the same stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's the trip about MCIs, man. Is like everyone is unique. Mm-hmm. Everyone has its own unique challenges. Mm-hmm. I guess you should talk about, like, as a medic pulling up, right? The first thing I look at, especially like on a traffic, like the bus into the or the train into the bus, like we had. Yeah. The first thing I'm looking at is just a general scan to see how many bodies do I have. Do I have people laid out on the street? Do I see people like in the bus just like hunched over like that, not moving, or do I see people like up and talking or whatever? So When I initially pull up and I see just in general, oh shit, we got something that's probably more than 5 people here, right?
Mhm.
My partner will jump out and immediately start triaging. Whoever the firefighters are and the initial fire company will get out and start helping to triage.
Mhm.
And I will stay my little butt on the rig in my seat. As a driver, you want to park in a spot that's like out, especially if you're communications, you want to park in a spot that's out of the way, but positioned where you can see the actual incident.
Mhm.
Okay. I always like to get on the attack channel and let people know that I am communications,
Mhm.
right? And if there's an EMS captain on the ticket, I'll say, hey, EMS 9, EMS 4, Rescue 63 is going to open communications. I'd like to do a face-to-face with you when you get on scene, right? Just to discuss what we're doing. But position yourself in a position where you can see the entire incident and then keep your butt in that seat.
Mhm.
Some people will get out and be, just stay there by the rig. People are going to know that 63s or whatever your rig is the communications rig, is just
Right.
opening up communications. And you need to be there if to give or receive information.
Yes.
There was a guy that I work with that used to put a light and a cone.
Mhm.
Get a cone from the engine and put it on the hood of the rescue with the light underneath, so that
Yeah.
the cone was lit up, just so everybody knew, hey, the lit up cone is communications.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
smart.
you need to do.
That's smart. Yeah.
But stay your butt there.
Yeah.
We have everything's electronic now, right?
Mhm.
We just got these new like iPads with the new program that we're actually just learning. But I've found that with an MCI man, the best thing is a piece of paper and a pen to write
Mhm.
down and keep track of what's going on.
Mhm.
I'll make an initial call to
Mhm.
the MAC. We have it, I have the number programmed on my phone. We have it on the rescue phone as well.
Yeah.
And somebody like you will answer. And
But again, that's another thing too. Like, we're the paper and pen.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, we're keeping track of everything that's going on with it, where you're at, who you got, who's going, who's still waiting, who already got some, who can still take some.
So that conversation would go something like this. I call the phone, it rings, you answer, and you say,
Yeah, we'll answer. Say you got the emergency line. You'll say that you're calling in with.
and
an
I'll say,
MCI.
hey, this is firefighter paramedic Gonzalez. I work for LA.
Nah, you don't say who you
I work for
You
LA
just say
City Fire.
unit.
Rescue 63, right? Because you want to know the municipality too, right?
Well, we want to know the department because we have all the departments in the county. So there's like 4 Rescue 63.
When I say my name, because the times that I have called Mac, I've been on the phone with the guy for a while. So it was like, by the end, we were like, all right, dude, we got this, we got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, this is LA City Fire Rescue 63. I've got a bus accident with potentially
with an MCI,
30 patients.
I have a bus. Well, you say, you're calling with an MCI. You say where you are and then what you have. Because where you are is important, because then we're going to think of where we're calling.
Right. So when you say where you are, you mean you preferred to have like an exact location.
Give
Hey,
me
I'm
your
at the
location.
intersection of whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. Then basically the times that I've called, the dude asked me like, what hospitals are you close by? Like, ask me. But you have told me that that's kind of
You
their
should
job is to know that, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing too. And like, it can be tricky because there's so many hospitals, but like, that's your job, is to know who's got what, where they are, what they can do. So when this happens, you're sending people to the right place. So people will ask maybe if they're new, or just to confirm or something. But for the most part, when you say where you are, we should know.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I told him, hey, these are the hospitals close by me.
Mm-hmm.
These are the little bit further out hospitals that are still kind of close to me, right?
What we have are like the ReadyNet, which is the system that we use to send out the poll asking the hospital, letting the hospitals know that we have this incident, finding out what they can take. And that's the system that we use to track who goes where.
Does that like
also
notify? Is there like a fucking notification that goes to those hospitals when an MCI breaks out?
Yeah, it goes to the hospitals. They should have like a little like blue light over where the ReadyNet is that flashes or whatever, so they know they got to go in and
go
answer.
check it. Yeah.
But then also we call the closest places.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because you can't wait for them to answer.
Yeah.
You could take a couple minutes. Somebody sees it. The MCIs are. I'm sorry, if the MICN's already on a call or something.
Yeah.
So we'll call the closest places, find out what's up, get you the closest destinations. Sometimes when you call, somebody already went, and that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mean transported?
Yeah, transported. Like somebody's already en route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause somebody's got to go. You're going to send them to the closest no matter what. You're not going to wait to find out if they can take them.
As a medic sitting there, what I always did was I wrote down, the hospitals that I'm reading off to him, my closest, leave a little space underneath. And then when the EMS captain gets there, hey, I'm communications. I'm on the line with the MAC right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be here on the line. And I'm going to coordinate with EMS to set up a staging area for the rescues, or EMS will be doing that with whatever battalion chief is in charge of the incident. But just like they did in the bus incident that we just had, you want to set up staging in an area that's away from the incident, just, close, but out of the way of incoming units and stuff like that. You're not going to be, in the way of the actual incident. And you want to set up a place where rescues can basically pull up in one direction, stop, open their back doors, and pick up a patient, and then take off in that same direction and and have a clear path to be off and on their way to the hospital.
Yeah, you got to think of all that stuff.
And the EMS captain will be the whoever's in charge of that staging area will be the ones that knows what rescues are there, what ALS, what BLS, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
People that are triaging, okay, that's another thing. You can communicate with EMS. Hey, I need to know what we have as far as patients. And they might come back and say, hey, we got this many, delays, this many immediates, whatever. I'll keep track of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then a rescue will come up, a BLS rescue. Cool. Take patient 12, with arm pain. Cool. Patient 12, where are they going? Okay. We got patient 12 is 35 female, arm pain. It's delayed. Okay.
So we're punching that into ReadyNet. Then this rescue 61 is taking this patient to, Marina Del Rey.
Now, are you the one determining the destination, or am I going, hey,
No,
I'd like to take them here?
You're going to determine the destination. We're only going to stop you if it's not advised. If it's something that's going to become another transfer right away, then there's no point in taking that.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, if you already sent, because another thing too is, trauma centers can take more people than smaller hospitals, right? So if your closest trauma center tells us they can take 5 people, 10 people, you have 5 people, everybody goes, oh, we're going there, we're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, if they're all in the same car, it's the same family.
Sure,
I'm not going to send mom and one kid to another hospital.
Right.
I mean? That's cool.
But at the same time, you don't want to inundate.
I don't want all 5 people going to the same place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be as good a care for them.
Yeah.
You know?
So I have this information on my paper or sometimes guys pull out the gurney and write directly on the sheet because you have this big, almost like a whiteboard, writing on the sheet. And so I'll go, okay, Cap will go, hey, we got an 800 here. Cool. 800 is going to take patient number 12. They're going to go to Marina Del Rey. Roger. Cap gets patient number 12, puts them in the rescue. They take off. The next rescue pulls up. It's rescue 6-2. Roger. Rescue 6-2 is going to take our first immediate patient. They're going to go to, whatever, UCLA Trauma Center. Roger. They put that patient in there.
So they're
and
going
they take
in
off.
the system. It's checking off, these people are en route. These are the remaining beds that are open.
So
these
now
are the hospitals that didn't get anybody yet.
Are you guys contacting the trauma center at that point to say, hey, the 62s is bringing this person, or are they keeping an eye on the ReadyNet?
62 is going to make base. Once you have a patient and you're en route, you're going to make base contact. Because now that's your patient on your run. It's your own incident then. You know what I mean? So they'll see on the ReadyNet too that they're getting somebody. Yeah. But they should expect a base contact call.
But what if you get
to give the run?
But what if you get 3 trauma patients from the same incident going to UCLA?
There should still be 3 base contacts, dude, because you're going to get a report on each one. It's a trauma center. They get 3 patients at the same time, 3 separate incidents at the same time.
I don't know.
So that's what it's set up for, dude.
So yeah, you have to set that up properly. Yeah. In order for it to go down properly, right? Totally. For it to go out without a hiccup.
Yeah. And when I'm saying I don't want to send somebody to a place that's just going to be another transfer like right away, I mean, like, if you have a broken leg, I'm not going to send that person to a place that doesn't have ortho. If a person's burned, they're not going to not go to a burn center. Sure. Something like that.
And those are things that I as the medic are already considering.
Exactly.
Right? Like when I have somebody that we get a lot of people that slip on the sand on the bike path and dislocate shit and stuff like that. And Santa Monica UCLA is an orthopedic hospital. Yeah. They are also like the slowest when it comes to like getting us in and like, you know what I mean, in a timely manner. So it's, you know what I mean? But regardless, you know, you want to take the patient to whatever's best suited for whatever their injury is or whatever. Yeah. So God, man, I can't even tell you how important it is to get those immediate things set up properly.
Yes.
Because when you don't, it turns into a cluster so fast, dude.
You're trying to catch the birds and put them back in the cage.
And it's hard to do as a medic, as a first on scene medic too, because when you're first on scene, it's usually a hectic, chaotic scene. And people have been waiting for the medics to show up, you know? So everyone's like, over here, she's there, you know what I mean? And you know, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. Sometimes you have to decide, you know, if somebody's, you know, I can't help this person right now. You know what I mean? I have to leave this person and move on to the next person until more units start showing up. It's a crazy thing, man.
It is.
A lot of different moving parts that have to come together or have to be organized, you know, with purpose at the beginning.
Totally.
In order to come out with a good outcome.
Yeah. And you can hear it kind of when people are kind of losing it and they'll ask to call back. Sometimes they'll hang up. I got to call you back.
You know, I'm glad.
It happens.
I'm happy that I was exposed to an MCI when I was still well, actually, I'm sorry. I was already a paramedic, but I was doing, so I got my paramedic, right? I worked as a paramedic in the privates for a year, but that's not like real paramedics. Like I was doing interfacility transfers and stuff when we were back up for Redondo Beach. So every once in a while I get a real 911 call, but it was mostly just like ALS transfers, you know, from facility to facility or whatever. And then I got hired with the fire department. When you go through the fire department's probation and stuff, you know, drill tower probation, you don't do any paramedic shit.
Right.
And then once you're done with probation, you do like a 10 shift ride along. And I'm pretty sure I told this story already, but we had my last shift there, middle of the night. We get a fall at the dock. We get there and it's a container at the dock with 30 guys from China in there. They all come running out. They're on the second level up. So I had like 20 broken ankles and knee in things and then like 10 other people that had gotten caught in different areas and they've been in this container for 30 days. And it was when SARS was like, you know, all fucking crazy and everything, right? And that was like from China, and it was just like this crazy incident. And I hadn't done any medic stuff in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God the guy that I had come into work that night was an ace medic and called Mac and basically broke everything down for me.
Right.
You know, how to run this thing.
Yeah.
And it's come in handy in the times that I've had MCIs. You know, you recognize what it's going to be and the potential for what it could become, and you initiate these things right off the bat. And I'm telling you, man, when you have the discipline to do that, and a lot of young medics don't. You get there and you get excited, and you know,
because it goes against what you learned.
Yeah. And any time that I've had an MCI that I've actually been able to like run from having communication and stuff like that. You know, the chiefs and the captains and even the guys that are like actually they're, you know, making the thing work. They come up and thank you, you know, because most of the time they know how jacked up it can be. But when you have the discipline to set everything up properly, you know, the higher ups and stuff like that notice it and they appreciate it and things just didn't go. And that goes for the guys too.
But also you're making their job easier because all of these get analyzed. There's always after action report in a meeting where the chiefs break down what did we do, what happened. The ER directors are there, EMS directors. They look at every single one.
And the same goes for the guys and gals that are doing the triaging as well. That can get jacked up too.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, or if you know don't have your triage areas set up properly, you don't keep people corralled in the proper, you know, location that they're supposed to be in. You don't secure the bus to make sure that people aren't getting on. Yeah. You know, to pretend like they were injured on this bus end, because that shit happens too. You got to make sure you secure people getting off and people getting on. All these things have to happen for an MCI to run smoothly. And when one doesn't, it jacks the whole thing up, man. Jacks the whole thing up.
Yep.
So it's good. You know, I thank our captain for putting things like that on the docket for us to go over, because it's good to review that stuff, because like you said, it doesn't happen all the time. Dude. Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. And when it does, and you're on top of it and you know what to expect, and you know what your job is and how to do it, it is the difference between everything running smoothly or everything being screwed up.
Yeah. And so that's part of our job too, is we drill everybody on them all the time because we're the MCI people. So all the hospitals we break it down into regions, like response regions. They get drills every week, just different regions, different days, but it goes down all the time. Every department will want to do a tabletop. If they have a big exercise, they'll call us and do it with us. So everywhere, all over the county is always drilling on these things to be ready for them. Some months are light, or there might be like 3, 5. The last month, I think it was kind of like closer to 20 or something like that.
Do you guys
20?
Are you in communication with like your counterparts in other counties?
There are no counterparts in other counties, man. That's the only MAC.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Because unless you have a huge system, you don't really necessarily might not need a MAC, or you might have something else in place.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But there's nowhere else that has like a 24/7 MAC, basically, that ties everything together. But then if you think about it, like if we're not there, then there's got to be some other, like everyone's going to have to do things individually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I just, I think for all you guys out there listening, it's a good idea to review this stuff, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And we saw in like Uvalde how quickly things can get fucked up.
Dude, we had a big shooting yesterday.
Yeah.
San Pedro.
Yep. San Pedro.
That was seven victims, man. 1 park.
Yep.
2 dead.
That's what happens.
That same thing, man. Your department.
Rival gang members, man.
Yeah, jumped on it.
It gonna do what it do.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I thought of our guest
on the last show.
The last episode, man. Immediately.
Right.
Yeah. What a crazy story that was.
Yeah, you guys check it out if you skip that one for some reason.
I think we're good, man.
Yeah, I think we're good, man.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Right.
Yeah. Study up on that stuff, guys. You want to be on top of that and be the ace when things like that happen.
Yeah, and if you are in LA County and you're wondering if it's cool to call to get help with that, yeah, man, that's why we're there. Call the MAC number. Tell them you want to practice, that you have a drill. We'll help you out, brush you up on MCIs.
Boom. You guys can follow me at DannyGonzo34 on Instagram and Twitter.
Follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 Humor, like benign tumor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow our show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at PRC Podcast on TikTok. Email us, contactprcpod@gmail.com. And please drink CBD living water and Planet.
And look us up on YouTube if you guys want to look at our pretty faces and watch the show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good one.